Okay, so picture this. You're about to drop some serious cash on a luxury handbag. But wait, what's that? A stitch. Just slightly off. Practically invisible to the naked eye.
Yeah,
Rejected.
it's true. In the world of high-end leather goods, those seemingly insignificant imperfections can be deal breakers.
And that's what we're diving deep into today. The meticulous world of luxury leather goods quality control.
We'll be exploring what it takes to ensure those pricey bags, wallets, shoes, you name it, meet those sky-high standards.
We're drawing insights from a leather goods quality controller career guide today, along with a really interesting platform called RoleCatcher. You can find them at RoleCatcher.com.
It's a fascinating look at the behind the scenes of an industry obsessed with perfection.
So if you've ever wondered what a leather goods quality controller actually does get ready for some serious insights.
It's a blend of eagle-eyed observation and these surprisingly technical tests.
The guide even uses the term exabyte tests. Sounds intense, right?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine running your fingers across a handbag stitching, feeling for perfectly even tension, or scrutinizing the color of the leather under different lights.
Talk about detail-oriented.
It's all about catching those tiny deviations that most of us wouldn't even notice. And it's not just about aesthetics either.
You mean like how sturdy it is, how well it's made?
Exactly. They call it robustness. A luxury handbag isn't just about looking good, it's got to feel practically indestructible.
That makes sense, especially when you're talking about something that costs a pretty penny.
And then there's color uniformity. Imagine a handbag where the color is slightly off in one spot, barely noticeable to the untrained eye.
I'd probably never even see it.
Right. But for a luxury brand, that's a huge no-no. It's that level of meticulousness that sets them apart.
It's mind-blowing how much goes into making sure every single piece is perfect.
Yeah.
But here's a question. In our world of automation, why is the human touch still so crucial in this industry? Shouldn't a machine be able to spot a misplaced stitch faster and more accurately than a human?
That's where it gets really interesting. While technology is changing the game, it hasn't replaced the need for that discerning human eye.
So you're saying a computer can tell you if something is technically wrong, but it takes a human to know if it actually matters.
Precisely. A machine can detect a seam that's a fraction of a millimeter off, but it takes a trained human eye to determine if that deviation actually affects the product's appeal.
It's like a computer can tell you if a musical note is off key, but it takes a musician to tell you if it actually ruins the song.
Exactly. Luxury is about more than just technical perfection. It's about capturing a feeling, an emotion.
And that's something technology can't quite replicate, at least not yet. It's like they have this sixth sense for quality, knowing instantly when something's a tiny bit off. But this all sounds super specific, right? What's the career path look like for someone in this world? The guide mentioned something about climbing the leather quality ladder, like starting entry level, then working your way up.
Yeah, and it actually mirrors how the whole leather goods industry is structured. You begin as this apprentice, learning from the masters. Imagine being able to spot a fake bag just by touch.
Oh.
As you progress, you become kind of like the protector of the brand's, essence. You're training newbies, even collaborating with designers to catch problems early on.
So it goes from detective work to safeguarding the brand's whole legacy. That's pretty cool.
And then when you hit those senior levels, you're practically fluent in leather, not just checking finished pieces, but going to tanneries, knowing the industry inside and out, even helping make decisions about those top-tier quality standards.
That's quite a journey. But okay, let's address the elephant in the room, or should we say the ostrich in the atelier. The guide hinted that it's not all glamorous photo shoots and trips to Milan. What's the reality check here? What are some of the downsides?
Well, like every job, it has its moments. Staring at seams all day can get repetitive, especially for those of us who, crave a bit of excitement. And we can't forget about the chemicals used in treating leather. Safety is paramount.
Of course, of course.
But on the bright side, you're working with materials that literally scream luxury. For some, that alone is incredibly fulfilling.
Right, it's like being a chef, spending hours prepping ingredients, but then you create something amazing. Plus, didn't the guide mention something about international travel?
Absolutely. Imagine you could be in Italy, in some centuries-old tannery, learning firsthand about their craft. It's an experience you can't put a price tag on.
That's incredible. Speaking of global, I remember something interesting from the RoleCatcher platform. Apparently, more and more companies are specifically searching for people with these specialized skills.
It's true. The tables have turned. It's no longer just a candidate's market. Now it's all about attracting and keeping those highly skilled individuals who know quality when they see it. When a brand's reputation is on the line with every single stitch, they're going to do whatever it takes to find the very best.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack,
Ah,
or I guess a perfect stitch in a pile of leather. Okay, so we talked about the human side of things, but what about the robots taking over? How are 3D printing and AI changing the game here? Are those quality controller jobs in jeopardy?
that's the big question, right? But here's the good news. For now, at least, those robots aren't replacing anyone. In fact, they're actually making things better.
Really? How so?
Okay, imagine this. A designer wants to create a new handbag. Instead of sketching and creating a physical sample, which takes forever and costs a fortune, they can use 3D printing to whip up a bunch of prototypes super quickly, hours even. They can play with designs, textures, personalize things, all digitally.
No way. Like a virtual leather workshop.
Exactly. And when it comes to quality control, AI is automating those tedious tasks. Think of it like this. AI-powered systems scanning leather for those tiny imperfections or instantly catching stitching inconsistencies.
It's like having a superhuman assistant who never gets tired or needs a break. But even with all that, it still comes back to the human eye having the final say, right?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, luxury isn't just about being technically perfect. It's about evoking an emotion, a feeling. It's about that piece connecting with the person who owns it. And that it factor, that's where human intuition and skill still rule.
It's like you can't quite put your finger on it, but you know it when you see it.
Exactly. And you know what's fascinating? Consumers are getting more and more savvy about that kind of thing.
Oh, totally. And speaking of savvy consumers, I remember this little nugget buried in the RoleCatcher stuff. Apparently, tons of brands are really playing up that human element in their marketing now.
Really interesting. It's like that old school craftsmanship charm is having a major moment.
Right. It's like they're saying, hey, behind this impeccable stitching is a real person, a master craftsperson.
And that story, the connection to real human skill and passion, that adds a whole other level of value to what you're buying.
Totally. It's not just a bag anymore. It's a work of art.
Precisely. And for someone who really cares about that kind of thing, that story makes all the difference.
It really does. This whole conversation has me thinking bigger picture. We're so used to fast fashion, disposable everything. It's honestly refreshing to think about an industry that's built on, like, true quality.
I know, right? It's funny, though. You have this cutting-edge technology like 3D printing, AI, and then on the flip side, this deep respect for tradition and craft. It's a trip.
And the crazy thing is, it's not like those two worlds are at odds. They're actually working together.
Totally. Technology is just a tool. It's the human hand, the human eye, guiding it all, making sure everything lives up to those crazy high standards.
Like a high-tech ballet.
I love that. And it speaks to this whole movement toward conscious consumption.
You're so right. Buying luxury isn't just about status anymore, is it?
Not at all. People are way more aware of the ethics, the environmental impact, all of it.
And luxury, in a weird way, fits into that shift. These pieces are meant to last forever. It's investing in quality over quantity.
Exactly. And brands are picking up on that. Sustainable practices, treating their workers fairly, making things that last, it's all connected.
It's not just about looking good. It's about feeling good about what you buy, too.
100%. Which brings us right back to those unsung heroes of the luxury world, those quality controllers.
The guardians of perfection.
Right. They're not just keeping those standards high. They're part of this bigger conversation about ethical, sustainable luxury.
Making sure those pieces we invest in are actually worth it on every level.
Exactly. They're protecting the integrity of the craft, and by doing that, they're pushing for a more mindful way of consuming.
Wow. When you put it that way, it's pretty amazing. And I think on that note, we've done a pretty awesome job unpacking this whole world.
We really dove deep today.
We did. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of luxury leather goods and the incredible people who keep those standards sky high, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember?
That luxury is about so much more than just a brand name or a price tag.
It's about tradition, skill, even technology, all woven together.
And at the heart of it all are those incredibly skilled people who pour their heart into making sure every detail is perfect.
Those detail-obsessed inspectors, ensuring every stitch, every seam lives up to that idea of luxury.
So the next time you see a gorgeous leather good, take a second to appreciate the people who made it happen.
Perfectly said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the world of luxury leather goods, the hands that craft them, and the choices we make as consumers.
Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.